Daddy, we're doing.
I'm doing a podcast, Dizzy. Hello and welcome to the Too Cool for School podcast. I am your host, Yannick, and on today's episode, we are talking about how we turn our struggles into success and how we redefine success and how we can motivate ourselves to be, the best versions of ourselves. So I've got an amazing guest with me today, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves.
Thank you. Yes, my people. Thank you firstly for having me on here today, Yannick. I'm Ray Sefah. I'm one of the co-founders of Step Now, and I'm also an international life coach. Literally here to help people find their purpose and become the best versions of themselves, adults and young people. Yeah, that's. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, perfect. So, Ray, I've seen a lot of your content online. So many people have been, they even send me stuff online on TikTok, on Instagram, and even myself, I really, take time to listen to the motivational words that you share online, and there's definitely power in words, right. And even listening to some of your clips, like first thing in the morning, sometimes it's that difference maker in terms of like how you wake up and how you just like apply yourself and how you get started for the day. And in society right now and in the world that we're living in right now, there's a lot of things that young people and students are facing, that they're having to sort of battle with, whether it's economy, whether it's their identity, whether it's family, whether it's health and whatever else. And sometimes these things can be overwhelming.
100%.
Sometimes these things can be overwhelming. Sometimes it can sort of bring us down. And I wanted to know, because we're adults now, so it's easier for us, or sometimes it's easier for us to sort of, okay, let me pick myself up and keep pushing. But for students, for young people that are going through those experiences, how can you advise them on how to turn their struggles into success?
Wow, Yannick came in. You came in strong early doors. Why not? For young person, or even an adult, for anyone listening, I feel like for a young person, if I was to advise a young person on turning their struggles into the positive light, it's the rewording of words. And I think you touched on it when you was introducing myself about the words, like, and how it influences you in the morning, or whoever it is watching it. Like, words are powerful, both in both ways, negative and positive. And I feel like, if you remember when we were young, for example, our teachers, and people used to see it as a joke, but they would say, "Oh, you're gonna end up in McDonald's." Do you remember them teachers, that odd teacher that would say, "Oh, Yannick, you're misbehaving, carry on, you're gonna end up in McDonald's." Or even, some of our Western parents, African parents, for example, they might not have meant it in a bad way, but they would say, "Carry on, you're gonna be a failure." You see, words, subconsciously, they sit. So, you see, even the word struggle, we should change that to what I'm learning from this. The word struggle and failure, if we teach our kids, us as facilitators, teachers, parents, if we even stop using the word struggle and make people realize, change the perspective of struggle to what am I learning from this? So failure and struggle, let's eradicate those two words, because them words, they kind of frighten people. Do you know what I mean? But if we change it to what am I learning from this? Now, what I mean, if I was to give an analogy, is if I am a young person and my NI comes and I get a retail job, as you know, young people get retail jobs. And let's just say they get dismissed or sacked because they're late. That's not a failure. That's not a struggle. They're going to learn. That's a learning curve to know when I go into my next job, which might be a real proper job, I'm not going to be late again. But I learned that by getting dismissed from my retail JD Sports job, or, the young jobs that we tend to get to. But it's not a struggle. It's not a failure. You actually learn.
It's a learning opportunity.
You understand?
Yeah. That's amazing.
it's for me, it's the shift for adults and young people of perspective of the wording. You know, it's what am I learning from this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And when you speak about learning, is it easier for us to have that discussion because we're adults and we're seasoned and we've had opportunities to make mistakes and and to learn from, and I'm not going to use the word struggle in this episode,
even conscious now. I love that.
but to learn from our experiences. So how important is experience? Is experience even necessary?
Yeah.
Or can young people from the get-go know that actually, I might not be seasoned as,
Right.
The adults, but I can still, learn from this to sort of redefine
Yeah.
my success?
Good question. I think both work hand in hand, and it finds the right balance, because I think experience is key, but it's always knowledge. Then and you see with life, I genuinely believe everything is about balance. I think too much of something is bad, and I think too less of something is bad. I got my water here, we've got your water here. Too much water, you can get bloated, and they even need to pump it out of you. And water is the purest thing in life, as we all know, right? Everything's bad these days, but water's not. But too much of water, try and drink 5 liters of water, you're going to get bloated and they're going to need to pump it out of you, right? But try to drink no water, you're going to get a headache, a migraine, you can even feel dizzy. And that's the purest thing of life, right? So that just goes to show too less of it is bad, and too much of it is bad as well. That's why they always say, like, drink 2 liters. It's right in the middle. Yeah. Now, with what you said, I think people that have that are just knowledge, experience, it's great reading about something, but never actually practically doing it can also be a problem. And then there's people they've got all the experience, but they haven't got how the mechanism of how it works or the understanding. So for young people, I believe it's that finding that balance where it's giving them an understanding and a breakdown. Because one thing I've noticed about young people is telling a young person go to school, but not telling them the benefits of school and the understanding of school becomes a chore. Now, going back to what you said about us as adults, why it's easier. I study now, and I'm sure you do, but we study because we know the benefits. We know the salaries. We know it's going to help our families. We know it's going to help us get to another level. You probably studied podcast. You probably had to do so much research on podcasts to start this because you know the benefits now. As a young person, I remember growing up, I didn't know the benefits of school. I just got told I had to go to school. So it makes me think now as an adult, if you give a child understanding of what they're doing, they're more inclined to do it because they have a better breakdown and a better understanding. It's not a chore anymore. I genuinely feel like growing up, young people didn't see school for what it was. They saw school as, I have to go here, my parents said so, or the system says so. But if they really understood that school is shaping them up, firstly to become a young adult, preparing them for the real world, and secondly to give them an education to have a better career for their lives, then they could be more inclined to focus a bit more and take it a bit more serious.
No, that's amazing. You made some very thought-provoking points, and I'm thinking about when I was head of year and I was speaking to my students about the benefits of school. I was seeing it as from a viewpoint of an adult because I've seen the benefits of education and what it's done for me as I've got older. But there was always something in the back of my head that was conscious of the fact that when I was in school, I wasn't necessarily like the best behaved. So I didn't want to be a hypocrite in terms of, do this because, or you're going to get in trouble or whatever else. I was very conscious of that. If you don't do this, you're going to get in trouble. I wasn't of that sort of narrative because I didn't want to be like a hypocrite. I know how I was when I was in school, but I was mindful of do this because there's benefits. Do this because this allows you an opportunity to do X, Y, and Z. Think about this internship or think about this opportunity or think about this project that LSE's doing. That, just really, go outside and, branch yourself in and see the overall benefits of education that's not always within the confinement of school. Yes, so that's amazing. And I know, so in the society that we live in now, you know, for a lot of young people, success is defined by like external achievements.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, do you have, like, how many graduation pics do you have in your house?
Yeah.
You know, how many A's, or now they call them grade 9s or whatever, you know, do you have? How many likes do you have on social media? You know, how many followers do you have on, you know, on all of these platforms? For young people who don't fit in within that sort of traditional or what society wants to deem as success, like what can success look like for people who don't fit in that those categories?
Wow, Yannick, you ain't playing today. You're coming with some. I love this, and I'm happy you're asking these questions because I'm sure it's going to be so beneficial to so many people. I'm a massive believer that success is in the eyes of the beholder. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want people to start really respecting that success is personal. Do you know what I mean? Because what is successful to me might not be successful to you. I've spoken to so many people where it's like them having a family, like literally having a family. I'm talking kids, grandma, you know, parents, all in one space at a time. That's enough for them. And I've spoken to others where it's they don't mind not seeing family. They rather holidays. You know, so for me it's letting young people understand that exactly, that success is valued by you and what you see success as. Like, let's strip and let's rewire these young people who unfortunately have been raised with phones. And as we know, the phones kind of like make us all one way. It makes us feel like success is, like you said, social media, likes, following, viral moments, money, job status. If we rewire young people to normalize success is what makes you happy, you know, because that's what success is, right? It's what internally makes you happy. You think about it, a millionaire in a room of billionaires will think he's poor.
Well,
Do you get what I'm saying? So if money, all these things that you was mentioning, is the happiness, it depends on what room you're in. If I definitely don't think that's the case, because there has no ceiling. Because someone that's making hundreds in a room with someone that's making thousands is poor. But someone who's making no money in a room with someone that's making hundreds thinks that the hundreds guy's rich. So if you're basing your happiness on all these things you mentioned, the monetary things, the tangible things, you're going to be in a room that's got no ceiling. So when are you ever going to be happy then?
Yeah.
So if we can stop putting our happiness based on external things, like you mentioned, we will have ceilings. You know, I could say having you as a friend, or having my family, or having kids is my happiness because that's wholesome. You know, that's got a ceiling. Or having my parents still alive, that's wholesome. But if I put it on my likes, what about if I post something and I don't get likes? Naturally, my success, which is happiness, goes down. So it's funny. Van Gogh, I'm sure you've heard of Van Gogh, right?
Yeah.
Possibly the best artist till this day. He never painted for the audience. He painted his feelings. Now imagine he painted for the audience. His art wouldn't have been his art. He was painting through breakups, anger, happiness. He literally would paint how he felt. Nowadays, people are going to paint depending on what the audience want. So it's like the authenticity of humans has gone, and we're only basing our happiness on likes, on audience, but then it's not real no more. So if we help young people understand that happiness comes from what's within, just like how Van Gogh did, like paint your art depending on how you feel and what you like. And if the audience like it, great, it's a bonus, but you need to like it first. Yeah.
No, that's helpful. And sticking on that theme of success, do you think success is something that's fixed, or do you think it's like a journey? And I say that in a sense of, you know, I've been in positions where, you know, I've had a job, you know, I've sort of gone up the ranks, and I'm like, oh, you know what, I'm doing well for myself.
Right.
And then after a year or two, it's like, actually, do you know what, I've hit my ceiling.
Right.
Then you go to the next job, then you do the same, and then, you know, or you do these next projects, and Like, is it fixed? Is it something that is meant to be with me, irrespective of where I am, or is it something that continues with you, and you always essentially like need to be on your toes? You need to be intentional. You need to be active as you go along.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna reword the words again.
Yeah.
Success is internal happiness.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what success is meant to be. Of course, like you said, the world's creating their own perception of success now.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the original success. The original success is internal. So if I'm happy at the standard of work that I've done, then I'm happy with that. Now, but if we are basing it on the external stuff, you're never going to be happy with your success rate, because like you said, if you keep getting promoted and then eventually you hit your ceiling, but then everyone around you is directors now or different levels, you're going to think you're not successful. But if you deep within your life, where you was a year ago to where you are today, and you're happy with that, and you really reflect, you've been successful because you prayed for these moments, you worked hard for these moments. But if you're viewing it on external reasons and other people, watching other people, you're never going to be like content, because you're always going to be chasing the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one, until, there's always someone bigger and better.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to reword it and see success as that internal, peace, that internal happiness, where you look back and say, do you know what? I actually did well this year, and I'm okay with that. And if I can do better next year, great.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be a thing where it's like you look back at the end of the year and it's like, all my friends are now directors, so forget what I had done this year, all my promotions this year, I need to be directors like them. You're never going to be happy, because when you become directors, your friends might have escalated and they're now, owners, and then you're going to think, oh, I'm a director, I'm not an owner. So you're going to keep on chasing, and that's when depression comes in.
Yeah.
But that's for another day.
Yeah. And you know what, you've made a good point, and I want to just follow up on two things very quickly. When you talk about that inner happiness, that success being inner happiness, it's reminding me of, when we were younger and we'll do something good in school.
Right.
Teachers will say, give yourself a pat on the back.
Yes.
We don't do that as adults anymore.
Nah.
That's our, and sometimes we need to go back as adults, go back into your inner child.
Love that.
Like, give yourself a pat on the back.
100%.
Like, you even saying that, I don't even know the last time I've given myself a pat on the back. And I don't think people do. And as a result of that, that's why I think people seek validation
100%.
from others. Because you haven't given yourself a pat on the back. So it's like, someone needs to give it to me. But we need to be reminded of, actually, you know what, give yourself a pat on the back. And that's important. And so thank you for sort of bringing that up. And the other thing as well, when you was talking about the different, the sort of different titles and different positions, our friendship group or a friendship group can have. And I think that's one of the things that I really appreciate about my friendship groups. I've got so many people that are doing so many, amazing things. People on different salaries, doing whatever. This person's flying, this person's moving to New York, this person's moving to South Africa. Like, whatever, everyone's doing, this person's an international DJ. This, like,
literally.
Like, literally.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Professional boxers, athletes, whatever. People have their own businesses, but we appreciate each other. Like, I see you. I see in what you're doing right there, in your role.
You're doing well.
You're doing your thing, man.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the title. It doesn't matter the positions. It doesn't matter the size of the houses and who's got the biggest garden or who's married or who's got kids and no. But I just see you because I'm seeing your success.
Yeah. That's deep when you said that, right? All right, and everyone, I'm going to say it unapologetically, I trust and believe I can on this pod. I'm God-fearing, and I'm trying to not shy away from, like, saying it, like, I'm going to call it as it is. And that's respectful to whoever's listening, if they are atheists or not, but I'm going to call it as it is, right? I'm a massive believer that God gave everybody a purpose and a gift. And it's individual. Yeah, my gift is not our gift. It's my gift. He's made everybody individual. And he said, Yannick, this is your gift. Now, Yannick, if your gift is to educate people on education, that's what you do, right? I can't now see, oh, Yannick's on podcast, he's getting loads of views, he's doing his thing, and jump on. Do you know why? The God that made you and gave you that gift gave me a gift. So I'm going to neglect my gift and jump on your gift. But then I'll complain when I do a podcast and it doesn't do as well as you. The reason why it's not going to do as well as you is because you're doing your gift. I've jumped onto your gift and neglected my gift. And my gift isn't to do educational podcasts. My gift is what God gave me personally. It's an individual gift. And I feel like this society, everybody's trying to do the same thing. And God Almighty said, no, it's not possible. We have to be individual. Now, us as adults or us as teachers or us as people that work with young people, we need to bring back individuality. We're in a trending society. I hate trending because trending and viral moments makes people latch on, and then young people look at that as, oh, I've seen Nella Rose do that, so I need to do that. No, that's Nella Rose's gift. Like you said, you got boxers, musicians, DJs, teachers. Everybody's in their individual gift. You doing what you're doing now, you can't look at your boxing friend and think, he's actually doing his thing. Let me stop the podcast and be a boxer. It's not your gift. Do you understand? But we're in that generation now where whoever's popping, whoever's viral, regardless of the gift or not, I'm going to do that. I'm going to learn how to box. I'm going to learn how to do that. No, you've got your own gift. Just identify that. Identify your gift and run with it. The first thing when I came in offline, first thing I said to you, I'm proud of you, bro. Because you're in your lane now. You're not trying to do other people. You've been in education. Remember, I know you personally. Been in education as long as I've known you. And the reason why I said I'm proud of you is like, Yannick, thank you. You're finally in your bag. You know, for those who don't know, like, you're actually in your bag. So that's why I said to you, I looked you dead in the eye and said, bro, I'm proud of you. Because it's like you're unapologetically finally in your gift. And that's what we need to kind of let the young people understand now. Forget trending, forget viral. Find what's your gift and your purpose and run with it. And if you realize now you're doing well on podcasts, your tribe finds you. Your tribe finds you. When you've unapologetically found your bag and you're unapologetically doing your teaching and your advisory for teaching, your community is finding you. They come to you. And that's what we need to teach young people is be yourself and your tribe find you. You don't need to fit in. You are cool enough. Like, whoever's for you will come to you naturally. Did you understand? Musicians, people that love their music. Why do you think there's so much genres? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's people that like house music. There's people that like country music. And everyone likes their lane. You can't force someone that loves, is it rock, to like country. No, country likes country and they stay to country.
And each of those, and when I'm thinking about this theme of music that you're talking about, and each of those artists in each of those genres will all have sold out concerts.
There you go.
I don't even need to like your music, but you sold out in whatever because you're trying to find.
You've never probably gone to a U2 concert. It's not our genre. U2 sell out O2 every year, and we're talking queues that bend around the corner. And that's fine. And probably the fans that go to a U2 concert will never go to a concert me and you will go to. Let's just say our genre is hip hop, but our ones sell out too. And I feel like that's what we need to normalize that. Like, find your lane, find your tribe, and that's okay. But I think when we were growing up, it was okay. Now everybody's trying to find one lane. What the phones tell us. So if we can rewire again, like that word and rewire, individuality. If you're God-fearing, purpose, gift. Identify your purpose, identify your gift, and stick with it. Your tribe will find you. Your friends will even find you, and
So, you spoke about, identity and how people can find their identity and their purpose. And as an adult, there's 3 words that, we hate to hear from students or young people. It frustrates us. I don't know.
Right.
When they say I don't know, that triggers me. What do you want to do when you're older? What GCSEs do you want to pick? What do you want to study at uni? What are your interests? What things do you enjoy? I don't know. And for some people, they may genuinely not know.
Right.
So us as adults, parents, practitioners, how do we support them to navigate that that sort of journey?
Yeah, yeah. If you remember, we spoke about the different types of genres.
Yeah.
If I ask you, if I have like 8 different genres there: rock, soul music, R&B, what other genres are there? Country, whatever it is, right? How you know you like a song is when you listen to it and how it relates to you.
Yeah.
That's exactly the art of identifying your purpose and your gift. Reason being is when we listen to the music, how it resonates with us, whether it's cultural music, the beat, the whatever it is, even sometimes the heartbreak songs that it relates to us at that time. It's that inner. Remember, when I listen to it, it's not we're listening to it. Everyone listen. We can both listen to the same song and relate to it differently. You might turn around and say, "Nah, that's boring." Do you know what I mean? That song's boring. Where I might turn around and say, "No, that song means everything to me because my grandma used to play it." You know, it's what resonates with you. But truthfully, all right, we're in a generation now. People will listen to a song. Someone behind closed doors or within themselves might not like that song, but because everyone in the room saying, "Yeah, that song is nice," they're gonna say, "Yeah, that song is nice." There's no individuality. There's no identity. Now, that's the main thing for me is identity, teaching young people about how things resonate with them, what they like, you know, and going back to it, like I went to all boys school. Everyone loves football, but there's that kid that doesn't like football. But because he's scared that everyone's going to say, "What, you don't like football, you're a wimp, you're whatever word at that time we used," he might pretend to everybody that he likes football when really he likes viola. He at home behind closed doors, he's taking viola lessons. But publicly, when Mr. Yannick's doing a assembly, put up your hands if you like football. He's putting up his hand, he likes football, when the truth is he likes viola. And a lot of people run with that throughout life, where they're playing other people's identities when really they're kind of like suppressing their own. So for young people, adults that are listening, the first thing is teach identity, understand identity, what relates to you and what makes you happy, truthfully. And then last, once you've identified what that is, do what you find easy. Whatever you find easy, try and get a job in that. And if let me change the word and not find easy, but what fits your characteristics. You know, there's a lot of people doing jobs that you deep down know I have no business there because I'm shy or because I don't like people. And there's jobs that can facilitate that, but you have to be honest to identify that. Be honest with yourself. Yeah. You know, I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, that's important. And I loved when you said teach identity as well, because it goes back to what you were saying about individuality. Teaching identity encourages us as adults to remember that every young person's different. Every human's different.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's different. Everyone's gonna have different things that, you know, that they like, that they enjoy, etc. And teaching that. And I think, you know, and I'm not sure if it's still the same now, but sometimes if we stick with that traditional mindset, it puts us back into this box where we've sort of grown up, and it's like, what do you want to be? A fireman, a policeman, a doctor. What do you want to study? A lawyer. I want to study law.
Yeah.
Account and financing. But the world is so much bigger than that.
So much bigger, right?
People's interests, you know, are so much bigger than that.
Right.
And I'll give this an example because we're talking about individuality. I love anime.
Yeah.
As an adult,
Right.
I love anime.
Right.
I'm locked in.
Right.
Naruto, Bleach, like all of them ones. Like,
Right.
I'm locked in. And I remember a few months ago, the creator of Dragon Ball Z passed away.
Okay. May so rest in peace.
And
Legend.
the amount of people that I saw on social media that I wouldn't even expect, like posting it, like RIP.
Yeah. Childhood hero.
That's a hero, man. Like that was his lane.
Yeah.
There's so many kids that I know, even from when I was head of year, that they loved anime
Yeah.
or they love Marvel and whatever else.
Yeah.
That could be your thing.
That could be
You
your
could be
thing.
artistic. You're like, why don't you like? Why can't that be
Yeah. Yeah. Why
your
can't that
avenue?
be?
Or why can't you create your you know
Your own.
your own you know project? So yeah, that's powerful, man. I love that. And
You look at it, right? Yannick, what makes something fashionable? What makes something trending? What makes something what's the word? What makes something popular? I remember when we were growing up, if you wore slim fit jeans or skinny jeans, you probably would have got laughed at.
100%.
Right? So many different words. People would have called you all sorts of names.
Yeah, 100%.
And then I remember, you know, one of the American rappers, I can't remember off the top of my head who
Must
started
be like
it.
Young Thug or
Yeah,
Rich
I think it was
Homie
even like
Quan.
Lil Wayne, possibly.
Yeah,
you know,
Weezy.
They started wearing it, and everyone starts wearing it. And then, if you remember, we had a thing called boot cuts. If your jeans had the wider fit, you also got laughed at. It was about a good 4 years of everyone laughed. People even recording people with boot cuts. And now, if you look, baggy fits is the thing. You know, you're seeing artists wearing jeans or tracksuits that are covering the whole shoe. It's trending now, so it makes it's going. It's actually funny. It cements my point. Like,
People don't even dress for themselves.
right, you know, an individual with a high viewing or status decides to wear this, and everyone at his concert then goes home and says, I like what Burna Boy was wearing, and they start wearing it. But that might not even be the thing that they like. But because Burna Boy was wearing it, or Beyonce, you know, whatever name, you know, I don't even want to be too specific with the names, but an artist or some form of influence, we're dressing according to what's trending that they like. But Burna Boy might like it for comfortability. Yannick, we're older now. I don't wear trainers that are trending. I wear trainers that are comfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure you do the same
Yeah,
now. Do
for
you know
sure,
what I mean?
for
Like,
sure.
you know, for me, when I'm buying things now, it's the comfortability. Now, imagine someone trying to follow me and I go and wear the most comfortable trainers. And as we know, comfortable trainers are not based on like the aesthetics.
Yeah.
It's more based on the internal, the foam, the this. And you're seeing it now. A lot of our age are wearing Asics, Nike runners. People are wearing Nike runners with jeans.
Yeah.
People are wearing Asics with jeans.
They want comfortability.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
But because people our age who are influencers are wearing it for comfortability, the youngsters are not knowing that we're wearing it for comfortability. Now they're wearing it for fashion because they have no individuality. They don't know the one influencer started wearing Asics with jeans was wearing Asics with jeans because they've become a parent now and they can't be wearing heels no more. You know, if we saw Rihanna wearing Asics, Rihanna just had 2 kids. I think she had 2 or 3. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Rihanna, people probably seen Rihanna wearing baggy jeans with Asics. They think that's fashion. Rihanna's probably just tired. She's probably like, I'm done with the heels.
I'm a mum. I need
I'm
loose.
a mum.
I
I'm
need
doing
loose
school
clothes.
run.
I hear it.
Right. You know,
Yeah.
if someone told you 20 years ago, you would see people wearing Asics running shoes, trainers, with jeans, you would have said, get out of here. You can't do that. That's an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
You see
I
it?
didn't even know Asics existed.
Then. You know, New Balance and Asics were running shoes that were built for comfortability, built for running. Now it's for fashion. And that's not taken away from anything, but it's just, I'm just trying to reiterate my point.
Yeah.
That all it takes is people are trending. They're not there's no understanding. Going back to what we were saying about school, giving people understanding of why they're doing things. Like if you said to a youngster, why are you wearing these Asics? They'll probably say, I don't know, everyone's wearing it. But if we teach the identity and the individuality, people will wear what they want, listen to what they want, pick jobs that they want.
Yeah.
You know, everything will be according to self.
That's important.
You know,
Yeah.
everything will be, and that's how we're meant to live, Yannick. If you jump into my car, you're meant to hear the genre I like. You know, if you come to my house,
Don't pass that cable, man. We're listening to my music.
Unless I say to you, Yannick, do you want to listen to something? Do you know what I mean? But I shouldn't feel upset when you come into my car and say, this music's rubbish. No, this is what I listen to. And we need to stand on that because that's what soothes me.
Yeah.
That's how I was raised. You know, that's my culture. Whatever it is, that's my identity. And you have to respect that. You know, and we have to teach young people to have the boundaries to stand on it. Because let's be honest, Yannick. a lot of the reasons why people do and say things now is because of peer pressure, or they feel like if I be honest that I like a violin or I like a trainer that isn't fashionable, I'm going to get laughed at. But that stems from confidence. But confidence stems from how we're raised, from parents, from stigmas, from teachers, from words.
Yeah.
You see how we're going back to how we first started, from words.
Yeah.
If you raise your child confident, if your child knows about self, if your child embraces its culture, its identity, its religion, when he goes to school and people are downplaying his stuff, so, sorry, you can laugh what you want. This is I love this.
Yeah.
Unapologetically, you
Yeah.
know. So it's weird. We've gone back, but
yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful because it all links ultimately. It all links. And I wanted to ask as well because, you know, sometimes when, you know, I'm perusing online and, you know, I'm looking at content online, you'll see like these like life coaches and motivational speakers and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, you know, wake up every day, 3 a.m., go for a 2 million K run at 5 a.m. I have 1 million eggs and this is my, you know, I've been able to do this all by 11. And I'm like, yeah, that's not motivated me because I can't really do that.
yeah.
So I wanted to ask, like for you, what are some of the daily habits or daily practices that you do to just motivate yourself, to just keep yourself going, that, you know, even young people can use?
Yeah.
So they don't feel like, I need to wake up at 3 a.m. and do like a 20K run.
Right.
To be in a position that this person is in.
Interesting. You have to know yourself before anything to even do any of that, because what's big to me is small to you. It's just the way it is. Do you know what I mean? What's big to me is small to you, and what's small to you is big to me. And that's the beauty of life, yeah? Someone could do a 10K run and that could be their best achievement. For someone else, that's a warm-up.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the person that's their best achievement is any less than someone that's their warm-up. That's just their forte. Now, the person that's just the warm-up for them is great at running. But the person that's their biggest achievement might be great at reading. And the one that's the runner might not be good at reading. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone's good at what they're good at. But we're in today's society, because a lot of people are projecting, Yannick. Before we even start anything, whether they're life coaches or not, humans in general, everyone's projecting. Everyone's online, you know, recording this, that. They're telling their truth and they're projecting how they feel. But it's down to the consumer. And I feel like when it comes to social media or influence, there needs to be guidelines. People need to be taught social media is the person who's recording the reality. It's not yours. You know? So if you've got a fitness guru running and doing 10K and saying that that's just my warm-up, that's that person's warm-up. But what's happening is, because there's no guidelines there's no manual to social media, when they're seeing an influencer doing 10K, they feel like they have to do that as well. And if they don't do that, they're a failure. No. Be inspired by what the person's saying. But if your one's 1K and theirs is 10K, that 1K is an achievement to you. If I'm obese and I've been told by my health doctor that I need to run, just movement, even if I'm walking 1K, I've won.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at a fitness guru on social media and they're saying 10K, I'm going to always think I'm a failure. When really, I was never walking. And now I'm walking 1K. I'm actually a winner. So the small things I would say is small wins. Appreciate small wins. Like literally write small wins down.
Small wins.
You wasn't doing podcasts
And small wins
a year ago.
is objective. It's what's
It's
ever
for
small.
you. Do you know what I'm saying? You wasn't doing podcasts a year ago. Whether you get celebrities on here, whether you get the likes of myself on there, whether you get your friends on here, the fact
You are a celebrity, man.
Stop
you
that,
are
man.
a celebrity.
Stop that.
Go on.
You know, regardless of who sits here, you've won because you're showing up. You know, but unfortunately, we won't celebrate you showing up the first episode. We'll only celebrate when we get, I don't know, the biggest rapper that comes on here. That's when it's like, oh yeah, I've done well. No, you done well from your first interview. Do you understand? It's the small wins. The first day you done a podcast is the biggest celebration. But how our minds are now, no. The first one, it's not a celebration until I get so-and-so on here. The first one's the biggest celebration. If you think about it really, the first episode is the biggest celebration. We should have gone for a family meal. We should have popped the bottles. We should have put it on Instagram, the first one. But instead, we're going to wait until our 50th one when we get the likes of Burna Boy on here. And then we're going to celebrate that. But when you think about it, really, the one that knocked down the doors is that, you know, that imposter syndrome, like the things you overcome to do the first episode. That's that real celebration because getting it done. Because remember, it's a dream before, it's in your head. Actually taking it out of your head and practically doing it with the first episode is the biggest win. You know, does that make sense what I'm saying here? Like, that's what needs to be celebrated, but we don't. We only celebrate things at a high level now. Yeah. When really, no, it's the beginning stage. Like, celebrate small wins. Secondly, away from celebrating small wins, journal. Like, really talk about your journey. Like, sometimes reflect on how far I've come. You know, like, we sit there and we dream. And sometimes people's dreams are coming to reality. But because they're always chasing for the next one, they don't realize they're currently in the dream. You know, I know one day what I do and what you do were dreams. They were on the vision board. Yeah. You know, we were talking to our partners or our friends or our families about in 2000 and so I'm going to do a podcast. We're doing it. But if we're not careful and we don't journal and we don't reflect, we'll miss this part. We'll miss what we're doing. Yeah. You know?
That's important. And I feel like with the journal, it allows you to monitor your progress. Yes. It allows you to monitor your progress. So when you're getting into those daily habits, even like for young people or for adults, you know, you can write something, flip back in 2 weeks and be like, oh, that's the space that I was in 2 weeks ago. Yes. But I journaled today and I'm in such a better place and that's important. And with your first point as well about the small wins, I remember when I did the finance episode with Emmanuel Asiko.
Very good episode, by the way.
And thank you. And he made a point of, you know, when you're on that journey, if you don't celebrate the journey or show people or bring people in when you celebrate the journey, and you only celebrate when you bought the house,
right.
You're just stunting.
Yeah,
it's not about celebration.
Exactly.
You're like, don't care what happened in between. Meet me now because this is where I am. Right. So I think it's about appreciating those, you know, small wins and celebrating those small wins. So that's important.
Have you ever heard on social media or in general when people say it's lonely at the top? They're saying that because of exactly what you said. The ones that say it's lonely at the top, there's people at the top that are not lonely. Do you know what I mean? They've got their family and friends around them. It's exactly what you said. It's the ones that they forgot about the whole in-between stuff. And at the top now it's lonely because you weren't with your friends, you weren't bringing anyone in, you wasn't enjoying the process. You just wanted everyone to celebrate at the top, but no one's around because you lost so many. People lose their wives or husbands or their kids during the process because they're so focused on the top end that they're neglecting their wives, they're neglecting their husbands, they're neglecting their children. And then when they make it, it's like, babe, look, I done all of this for us. The wife's like, no, you done this for you because we were here. You was neglecting us. And that's why they say it's lonely at the top. Me and you, in our own respectable ways, we're at the top. We're not lonely. Do you know what I mean? Because when we were coming up together. We were still we were still being human beings. We wasn't, I'm only going to be a human being when I get there. That's when it's lonely at the top. But if you're doing the journey of your people and you're still looking after your wife, your children, your family, you're bringing people in, you're celebrating your small wins, how can it get lonely at the top?
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. And I wanted to ask as well, because I know there's going to be a lot of people that are listening or watching this episode and they're motivated.
Come on.
They're going to be like, you know what, like 2025, like I'm going to go do my vision board, I'm going to get motivated or whatever else. And there might even be people that are watching this and they're in the pits. Right. And you know when you're in the pits, sometimes you're in a battle. You're motivated by what you're hearing, but your body just can't pick itself up.
Do it, right.
For those people who are in the pits or they're having that sort of back and forth with like their spirit and their being or whatever, how can they start their confidence building journey? Like
right now,
what's one thing that you would recommend? Like if someone hears this and they're like, you know what, I'm locked in, from tomorrow I'm gonna start. What is it? What are they starting from tomorrow?
I won't do justice if I said one. There's a couple.
Yeah.
Start being truthful to yourself. Yeah, not what you're showing the world or even to your partner. You know, when you look in the mirror and you know, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm lazy. You have to be honest with yourself. A drug user or a drug addict can't get rehab until he accepts he's a drug addict. Did you get what I'm saying? Don't let that go over your head. How do you make someone go rehab if they're in denial that they're not addicted? You have to admit to yourself, I'm addicted, in order to go get rehab. And what's rehab? Rehab is the help. So there's people missing out on the help, not because the help's not there. They're missing out on help because they're not truthful to themselves. So the first thing is, any viewer, be honest with yourself. Firstly, look in that mirror alone and be honest with yourself. Am I overweight because I am doing this to myself? Like, stop the blame game. Be honest with yourself. Yeah, that's the first thing, honesty. Second thing is, look at 3 different parts of your life where you was in the dumps, and then ask yourself how I overcame them moments. Yeah, as you sit here today, you've overcome so many things.
Yeah, for sure.
And in the moment when you was going through those things, you couldn't see the way out, but you're here today to tell the story. Do you see it? So back to like the journaling, reflect on when I was broke, when I was 18, when I lost all my uni loan money. How did I overcome that? Because I'm here today, I'm all right. When my so-and-so passed away and I thought it was the end of the world, how did I overcome? Like, reflect on the ways out. What you done? What were the practices? Did I go gym? Did I find God? You know, whatever the solution was then, practice that again, but reflect on it. You won't be able to practice it again if you don't even remember it. So sometimes go back to the pits. Yeah. When you're in the pits, go back to 3 different pits that you've had before, and how did you overcome it? Last but not least, unapologetically, we need God again. And I don't mean, you know, like forever going church, getting a favorite pastor. No, I mean the organic God. God is love. We need God, the energy of God again. Like, and the energy of God again, what I mean by that is positivity. Positivity is love. Like, we need to be surrounding ourselves with positive things. If you're someone that's on social media and you're going through a pit right now, delete all blog pages, delete all gossip pages, follow spiritual pages, follow coaches, follow nutrition pages, follow Yannick's podcast, follow positive things. Because if you're going through the pits and you're consuming negative things, it's only going to make it worse. It's only going to heighten your issues. So positivity, find God, journal, look back at the times you've overcome things, and be truthful with yourself. That's just the start, of course. There's so much more, but those are the basics to pick yourself up.
That's important, man. And I think, you know, thinking about this episode in particular, and I know you've shared so many gems that's going to be relatable, not only to young people, but to adults as well.
Hopefully, yeah.
And thinking more so about like young people and students, what are some of the challenges? I think we need to work backwards in order to sort of like motivate, inspire, you know, push yourself, you know, work on yourself and progress. You need to have an awareness of the things that you're struggling with, or the experiences that you're learning from, because we don't use the word struggle no more.
Love that.
You need to have, you know, some knowledge of the experiences that you're learning from. What are some of the things, you know, as a practitioner as well, that young people are facing now that you think is like a big obstacle or challenge for them? And are those things similar to, you know, what we were experiencing, you know, when we were, you know, sort of growing up into adulthood, or do you think it's a whole different ball game that they're trying to navigate now?
Good question. I think we face the same, but obviously we grew up with no phones. So what I was going through, I couldn't see the world go through it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Because a lot of the things that's going on today, were in our generation, but we never had access to it. Whereas now I can be in my room and see how every other child is living, especially with the likes of like TikTok. You know, it's a youthful app, so I can see how a kid in America is living. I can see how a kid in Dubai is living. Whereas before I could only see kids in my area because you know we never had the access. So I do believe it's the same sort of issues, just now magnified because we can see it more. Right now, it goes back to the individuality and identity. Yannick, we're African, and we know how our culture was when we was raised, right? We were raised with a lot of discipline. We were raised with a different form of love. Yeah, our love wasn't "I love you, baby," "I love you, son," "I love you, daughter." It wasn't words of affirmation. Let's be honest, Yannick, right? We were raised with food, shelter, like kind of. I hate the word hard love, but it was more of a. It weren't words of affirmation love. It was more like acts of service love. You know, we know if our parents cook for us, that's their way of saying, "I love you, son." Right? Now, because we never had individuality and we were kind of like sheep, or we wasn't taught identity, we would go to school with our other counterparts of different cultures, and we would feel like we're the odd ones out. You know, but because we wasn't installed to be proud and have identity, we would try and jump ship onto. We'll do a lot of comparison. You know, we'll be like, "Oh, but Tommy's mum and dad says this to them, and Tommy's mum and dad says that to them, and Tommy's," you know, we would always do that. Now, for those who know, comparison is the biggest thief. The minute you start comparing your culture or your identity to another person, you've lost yours, because you're trying to now be theirs, and that's what's happened to a lot of young people, especially from our demographic. They've been raised African in a Western society, gone to school with Westernized people and trying to emulate their culture. And now you've lost your culture, but then your culture's at home, so you're in an identity crisis. So then as an adult, that's when imposter syndrome comes into. Do you understand? It's a pattern.
Yeah.
If you're raised and you know and you establish your culture, you establish your religion, you establish your African, you establish that your love is different, because having love how our parents was like acts of service, and someone having affirmations, one isn't better than the other. It's still love. But we were taught that, well, we idolized in our head that if my mum's not telling me I love you verbally, that she don't love us. No, she did in her own way. But it's about understanding your culture, understanding your identity, to not compare yourself to others, which would then build your confidence, which would then not lead you to imposter syndrome, which would then not lead you to what adults are now facing, which is, I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So it's the core. It's how you really, really believe in your kids, talk to your kids, raise your kids, and let them know who they are. Let them know what home they're coming from. Let them know what country they're coming from. Let them know who their grandma and their ancestry were. Take them back home. Like, let them be so unapologetically proud of who they are. It helps so many adult problems. You know, it helps imposter syndrome. It helps depression. It helps so many. You'll be surprised. Small identity from a young age, what it can do for some. The most confident people is the ones that know who they are.
Yeah, that's powerful. Yeah, definitely. And as we finish off, I wanted to speak a bit about, you know, your work and what you do as a life coach. You know, you've got amazing content online, as I said.
Appreciate it.
Earlier. And, you know, sometimes like I go through the comments and, you know, just to see how people are engaging with, you know, with the content that, you know, that you release. And it's amazing to see like the positivity and the motivation that you're spreading.
Yeah.
And there's definitely power. There's definitely power in our voices. You know, there's power in our voices. And I've got two things that I wanted to ask. So the first thing was, why? Like, why did you sort of navigate into, you know, doing what you're doing? Like, how did you realize that you can motivate, or there was power in your voice in particular to be able to do that? And the second thing that I wanted to ask was, for any young person, student, or even an adult, like how do they find their voice in a world that either wants them to keep quiet or in a world that wants them to conform to a certain way?
Yeah.
Like how do they find their voice? How do they say, like, do you know what? This is who I am.
Yeah.
This is what I'm proud of. And I'm going to speak about it.
Yeah.
Because I think the voice is powerful and everyone needs to be heard.
Right.
So those are the two
two
things that I
questions.
wanted to end on.
I'm going to answer the one you touched on last first.
Yeah.
About the voice. I got a pal who grew up with them, like really good friend of mine. I'm not going to say names and whatnot, but I'm going to use the ideology around it, right? I got a pal who studied a lot, ended up with like a law degree. And, you know, that was their profession. That was their identity. You know, people use their profession as their identity. Every time they spoke, what are you? Who are you? I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. Until one day they had a child. New experience, right? Had a child, and it was the most traumatic experience of their life. I'm sure you've heard, like, you know, with black women, sometimes that, you know, their pain throttle doesn't get taken serious. I've seen the statistics. It's incredible how black women suffer with childbirth, you know, traumatic experiences and whatnot. Hopefully, you know, that can improve. So she had a child, this lawyer who'd studied for years, you know, the identity was surrounded around law, had a child, very traumatic experience. I think the cesarean and all of that stuff. Today, they are the biggest, and I want to say biggest, yeah? They're probably the biggest advocator for women, black women's traumatic experiences, pushing, you know, pushing so much work towards NHS to improve it, training nurses, like so many things. But this is someone that studied laws, 10 years of studying sometimes, you know, but their experience and their identity became their voice. Like, doesn't talk about law no more. If anything, uses law for the experience of the, you know, uses it in a different narrative now, which is with childbirth. And that's become her purpose. That's become her gift. That's become her audience now. Now, I say all of that to say this. What happened to her and what she believed in has now become her voice. Your voice is your purpose. So she saw it as, what I went through, I don't want anyone else to go through this no more. You know, I know the pain, I know the suffering, I know the depression, whatever it was that she went through with childbirth. I don't want no one else to go through this. I don't want the younger version of me to go through this. I don't want my siblings to go through this. I don't want my friends to go through this. And that's her voice now. Now, I'm going to tie in that to answer your second question about how I found my voice, yeah? So to finish off, your voice is your experience. Your voice is what you believe in, not what the world believes in, what you believe in. Like what she did, she believed, because of my traumatic experience, I don't want no one else to go through this. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure no one else goes through this. And that's her thing now. No more law, just straight advocating for black women with childbirth. Love it. Now, going back to how I found my voice, I lost a friend just after COVID through mental health. And I'm not going to pretend. I used to hear about men's mental health all the time, statistics flying around. And there's a saying, until it's happened to you, it doesn't affect you. We always see it, right? And it was truth. I heard the statistics and you just brush over it. You know, I remember one day I saw the guy that done Miss Doubtfire. I heard he committed suicide. I saw it and I swiped, R.I.P. and then you move on. But my friend passed away from mental health and it hit me because it was like, this thing's real. You know, it's beyond the post. Like, my friend's not here anymore because of mental health. And long story short, similar to my friend, that then became my voice. I was like to myself, with everyone around, you know, we're all friends. Like, we chat to him. I was with him the night before. He was still quiet. And I said to myself, obviously after, not straight away, not the next day, but, you know, after grieving him, after burying him, I said to myself, my friend had all his friends around him, but because of these stigmas as men can't talk and whatever, all these stigmas that I was seeing, he passed away without speaking up. And I said, I want to be the representation of normalizing men speak up, you know? And I did that literally, you know, the last 2 years, as you know, come out a bit more. I want people to see me. If you realize my content, I dress normal. I'm not in a shirt. I'm not in a tie. I'm quite relaxed. Sometimes I'm in a hoodie. Sometimes I'm relaxed. Sometimes I'm in nice clothes. I try and normalize that as men, let's talk.
Yeah.
And my topics, I try and talk on real life things that I'm trying to be the voice that many men or women want to say out loud, but they suppress. So if they see me talking and saying these real life scenarios, they might be like, oh, I'm not the only one that's going through this.
Yeah.
Ray Sefa's going through. And then they look at the comments and they see thousands of other people saying, I'm also going through a divorce. I'm also going through a miscarriage. I'm also going through, I just got made redundant and I don't know what to do. It build like a community where we're normalizing, we all need help. We don't need to commit suicide no more. We can talk. We can speak. We can pray. We can DM Ray. We can DM Yannick. You know, if I'm suffering with one of my children at school because of social media, Yannick talking out and hearing his voice, Yannick, I need help. My child's not doing well in school. Or if I've got a child who's autistic or who has needs, I know you've got people on your podcast that talk about SCN needs. I can DM Yannick, you know. This voice thing, it's bigger than voice. It's subconsciously letting people know there's help here.
Yeah,
There's
access.
There's access here. I'm sure you get so much DMs when you're bringing on people that are talking about ADHD, SCN, financial literacy. People now see it. It's not just watching a podcast, I enjoy Yannick's content. It's, I know someone that might need this.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what I wanted. I wanted people to, in my comments, DMing me. And even the ones that don't, because they're silent viewers, normalizing it for them that I'm not going through this alone. Ray Sefah, who's got so many followers, he's just admitted that he's had down moments, you know?
Yeah.
And if I can keep one person alive, I want to be the voice that I wish my friend could have heard, and he probably would have still been here today. But obviously he's not here. But instead of me dwelling on that, like my friend said with the child's pregnancy thing, forget what's happened to her. I don't want anyone else to go through this. So if I can be the one person on this planet to not make someone else do what my friend done, my job is done.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful, obviously, it's not just the one person, it's happened thousands.
Yeah.
But I wanted it just to help one, and now it's helping millions.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's important to end on the note to say that, you know, we can learn about all of these things, such as, you know, financial literacy. You know, we can learn or do podcasts about, you know, why teachers are leaving school and trauma and all of these sort of things. But, you know, when we first wake up in the morning, it's just you as the being. And that's the one thing that no one can take away from you. And that's the one thing that's not attached to any other entity. And I think there's so much power in the individual that it was important to have, you know, these conversations. So, you know, we can encourage our listeners, we can encourage, you know, like anyone, adults who's going into the workplaces, teachers who are in school and really overwhelmed and struggling, and even students and young people, you know, to really put themselves in a position where they're saying, you know what, I'm going to be intentional with my voice. I'm going to be intentional with my voice. Like, how do I share who I am? How do I motivate myself? How do I be intentional with, you know, learning from my experiences? And focusing on yourself, focusing on your true self, having that authenticity is important. And I'm hoping, you know, that many of our viewers will be motivated and inspired by this conversation.
So.
And if anyone wants to sort of reach out to you, because you do offer
life coaching
services, what would be the best way for them to do that?
So email wise, ray@raysefah.com. Pretty straightforward. Social media is Ray Sefah. literally all of them. Instagram's Raysefah, one word, RAYSEFH. I'm sure you will tag it.
Yeah.
And then same for TikTok, same for Snapchat, same for LinkedIn. All my socials are Raysefah. Well, our website is www.raysefah.com. And all my services on there. Now, anyone that wants services from Step Now Youth Organisation, it's official Step Now on all socials, and our website is www.stepnow.co.uk, and that's our youth organisation. We help predominantly in Lambeth, but we're trying to spread out to wider reach. We help young people from the ages of 11 to 25, just helping them with careers, mental health, finance, relationship, just all around everything for young people. So yeah, those are everything.
That's amazing. Thank you. I appreciate you coming on the show. So that's been the Too Cool for School podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channels and follow us on our social media platforms.
Thank you.